This is the latest flagship model from the Lynk Co family, marking its first appearance in terms of exterior and interior design. However, I won't delve into its design language, as those details aren't the primary focus. This vehicle is the first to utilize the SPA EVO architecture, which means it will feature a dual-motor rear-wheel drive version. The core appeal of the Lynk & Co brand lies in its dynamic handling and overall driving experience, setting it apart in the market. The question arises, why didn't the previous Zone 9 model achieve widespread popularity? The primary reason was its somewhat lacking spatial performance. However, there's a particular aspect of this new model that I'm eagerly anticipating, though it cannot be showcased today. I've seen that the seats can be arranged to face each other, along with a normal seating configuration. If this feature is implemented, it would provide a versatile space similar to the Zeekr Mix. This means I could essentially carry a mobile office and cafe with me at all times. It also implies that when I take my child to tutoring, they can sleep in the car during lunch breaks, while I can work. This is a feature that I find truly impressive about this model. Given that this is the first reveal of the exterior and interior, let's take a look. The exterior design still follows the Lynk & Co family style, which has evolved from the initial 1.0 to the current the next day design. I feel that Lynk & Co's design still leans towards a somewhat aggressive, performance-oriented aesthetic. Therefore, the headlight design is a standard element that they can't avoid using. However, on a flagship SUV, it might appear a bit playful. This is just my personal opinion. Yet, there are some remarkable aspects to this car. The overall manufacturing process appears very harmonious and high-end. Let's discuss it step by step. The headlights feature an integrated design for both high and low beams, which is its lighting system. This is its daytime running light. In the middle, there's a 30-level grayscale display, though I don't recall the exact number. It functions like a black and white interactive screen. Currently, it's displaying some small dog pets interacting with it. Imagine if a pedestrian is crossing the road, there could be an interaction. I think this screen can display a lot of things. The lower part is truly beautiful. It's a waterfall-style active air intake grille. Since this car is a plug-in hybrid, it has a 2.0T engine at the front. The engine's heat dissipation opens when needed, and it closes at high speeds to reduce wind resistance and energy consumption. This entire active air intake grille design is very appealing. Moving to the side profile, I feel that if the front design follows the the next day family style, which is sporty, tech-focused, and attractive, it might not perfectly match the nearly 5.3 meter length of this large vehicle. However, the other parts are truly perfect. The side lines of this car are very clean and simple. First, look at this hood. It's a large, entire hood that aligns with the A-pillar. The rear-view mirrors are frameless, and the entire window area, including the A, B, and C pillars, is completely flush. If you look at it from this angle, it appears as a flat surface. Isn't that high-end? Additionally, the frameless design means that the entire door, including the water deflector, is hidden. The ceiling strip is completely concealed, so the entire glass appears as one continuous piece, which is very beautiful. The roof also has a full panoramic feel, which is very good. Some netizens have jokingly called this car the Hangzhou Bay Cullinan. It's said that in the owner groups, some are already calling it the Hangzhou Bay Cullinan. Looking at the rear, it does indeed have some Cullinan-like styling. I think it looks very similar to the Cullinan Sports version. What's most similar to the Cullinan is the clamshell tailgate design. This tailgate design is very practical. The lower tailgate has a load capacity of 300 kilograms. It can easily support 3 of me, even before I started dieting. So, the entire electric tailgate opening and closing mechanism is both useful and practical. I find that this type of clamshell door is very convenient for taking items. And the final part is electrically assisted. You might not have noticed, but it's an electric release. Every time I close this type of tailgate, this part is relatively clean. You push it up and release it, and the electric assist is very high-end. However, I must say that if the third row is pushed all the way back, the trunk space is a bit small. But there's a button that allows you to move the seat forward, including folding the backrest. Of course, you can also easily lower it. We press here to close both tailgates together. This is a standard feature. Speaking of the rear design, I think it's very simple, clean, and high-end. One reason is that this screen is also an interactive display. The front one is a black and white grayscale, while this one is a color grayscale. You can see it's a small dog now. If we were in Beijing and signaled to turn, and someone yielded, this screen could say, "Thank you." Wouldn't that feel great? I think these interactive screens will have more and more use cases in the future. Speaking of which, the rear is still simple. We've mentioned the clear horizontal and vertical lines. The wiper is also hidden inside. So, the overall design of the rear is also very high-end. I think this car has some highlights in its styling. Okay, come with me here. Although this feature cannot be demonstrated now, they've blocked it off. But now we can show it. Let's go to the public area. This is also a unique selling point. But they're not allowing us to talk about it in this promotion. This is the legroom in the second row. And this is the legroom in the third row, about 4 fingers. Because these fingers are all aligned, 4 fingers. You see 4 fingers. And the overall headroom is particularly good. When you sit in the third row, you don't feel cramped. There's a sunroof in front of me and a side window, including the seat height. Because the floor is flat, there's no sense of obstruction. So, overall, the space in the second and third rows is very good. Also, there's a refrigerator. This is a standard feature. Imagine if there was a screen when it opened. This is a 30-inch, 6K resolution screen. It should be able to move from this slot. See this slot? It can move the screen to a more rearward position. So, if you're sitting in the back, you can move the screen over and set different angles. Okay, let's try it. Okay. Now that we've talked about the screen, let's discuss the small table. This is a very important feature. It's not just about having a place to eat in the car. It's more than that. I can put my laptop here. If my son is doing homework after school, many parents have this need. This might sound very competitive. Although my son won't do homework in the car, he will listen to English. But I think parents often ask if there's a table in the car where their children can do homework. Okay. Besides that, there's a 220-volt standard connection port in the back, 2.2 kilowatts. If you plug in your laptop power supply, it's very convenient to work here. I mentioned to them that after the seats are turned to face each other, we need a table like the Zeekr Mix. They said, "Mr. Yan, please look forward to it. Lynk & Co.'s store will definitely surprise you in the future." Let's see what this surprise will be. We've already shown that the air conditioning in the third row is very good. And you'll notice that there are only 2 air vents, and you can choose to open or close the vents, adjusting them to countless angles. There are also 2 speakers here, which means the viewing experience in the back will be excellent. In addition to adjusting the seats forward and backward and the backrest, there's also heating, massage, and a power outlet. You can put your phone here while charging, and there's also a backrest. The third row experience is indeed as complete as the second row. The last part of the rear cabin is the way the doors open. You see, it's nearly a 90-degree opening, a very large opening. And there are electric foot pedals and electric doors, which are standard features, making it very convenient to get in and out. And you'll notice that the headrests in the second row are the same as in the front row. They all have to be adjusted. Moving to the front row, there's not much new. This screen is similar to the style of Li Auto, but it's a 30-inch, 6K resolution screen. The same screen as in the back is placed here. So, the overall display detail and UI design, especially the small screen on the instrument panel, are very similar to the 2 small screens on the Lotus. The overall sense of refinement, technology, and avant-garde feel is very well done. Of course, there's also a AD heads-up display. I think these models are very similar in their front cabin designs. There's a phone charging pad, a backrest, a center console, and a storage box underneath. This is great. But what I want to emphasize is that the Mix is a model I really like. I can carry a cafe bedroom and living room with me at any time. This car is the same. But the Mix's storage space is very average. This car, however, provides a lot of storage space and a lot of technology. 28295 chips, the most advanced car chip currently available, make it hard to find fault with this car. Okay. There's one key point, which is this SPA EVO architecture. This is Lynk & Co.'s latest SPA EVO architecture. This is the platform architecture of the new Lynk & Co. flagship 900 that we're seeing today. We all know the previous SPA architecture. It was a technological achievement transformed after Geely acquired Volvo, including the XC90 and Lynk Co 9, which all use this architecture. But that was an architecture from the fuel era. Now, in response to the trend of new energy, such as the battery under the car floor, and the placement of the motors, they created this SPAEVO architecture. It's used in today's new Lynk Co flagship 900. First of all, I think the rear wheels have many new technologies. You can see it's already turning. This is a rear wheel steering function, and the turning angle is very large, plus or minus 10 degrees of rear wheel steering. The steering motor is located here, and this car has dual motors on the rear wheels. We're told this is a top-spec version. There are 3 different powertrain architectures. The dual motors on the rear wheels have a power of 160 kilowatts each, totaling 320 kilowatts. So this top-spec version, combined with the front 2.0T engine, plus a P2 structure motor, and there's also a P1 motor in the front, so P1 P2, plus 2 P4 motors. This is the top-spec model. There's also a 2.0T engine with a 3-speed DHT gearbox and direct drive function. The overall power performance is very promising. Okay, but what functions have been implemented? For example, the reverse rotation of the dual motors on the front and rear wheels. One rotates forward, and one rotates backward. By locking one of the front wheels, it can achieve a Yandy turn, where the car rotates around a point. Then there's the waltz turn, etc., including the most direct turning radius. This is a 5.23 meter car, the Lynk Co 900. But with the addition of rear wheel steering, its turning radius is only about 5 meters. Meaning the turning radius is shorter than the car's length. This is one of the benefits that new technology brings us. In the chassis section, you can see 2 air tanks. It's a B-type dual-chamber air suspension, plus CDC continuous damping control. After all, it's Lynk Co's flagship model, so all the top-tier chassis technologies you know about will be included. Okay. One important thing is that we can see that the floor of the car is relatively flat. The battery capacity is either 43 kWh or about 50 kWh, 2 different battery capacities, located here. And this is the location of the fuel tank. The model we experience today with a completely flat floor is the version without dual motors. Because adding dual motors and rear wheel steering will take up some trunk space. So, the floor of the second row and the third row will be slightly raised. But if it's not the top-spec version with dual motors and rear wheel steering, it will have the completely flat floor that we experienced today. So, the overall space will also have some variations. Moving to the front, we mentioned that besides the 2.0T engine, which is paired with the dual motors, there will also be a 230 kW rear motor version. The most basic version will have the same 1.5T engine as the Lynk Co 8, plus a 230 kW rear motor. The power performance will still be very strong, even for the most basic version. Because the power of the 4-wheel drive version of the Lynk Co 8 is already very impressive. This car is a bit larger, but even the most basic version has a 1.5T engine plus a P3 motor and a 230 kW rear motor. So, the overall acceleration performance, even for the most basic model, is very promising. Today, we've seen this platform architecture. What can we see? I think the platform architecture can help automakers with flexible production. For example, maybe other brands under Geely can also use this platform architecture in the future. It also shows the R&D capabilities of an automaker. This is why the Lynk Co 900 has brought us many attractive experiences in the cabin today. Of course, there are many things today that we still cannot disclose to the public. They will have a dynamic driving and cabin experience soon. I think the launch of this car, besides the new architecture that Lynk Co has brought us in terms of chassis, power, and driving, and the anticipation of a brand new experience, its spatial design and the car's sense of technology still make us feel that it is undoubtedly a model worth looking forward to in 2025. Finally, let's look at this. This is their flat floor version, the version we experienced. This is a 550 mm slide rail. What does a 550 mm slide rail mean? The slide rail on a Buick GL8 is about this long. You know, for similar new energy models, the slide rails on the M9 and L9 are basically around 200 mm, maybe one is a little over 180 and the other is a little over 220. So, its slide rail length is extremely long. This is one of the benefits that the new platform architecture brings. We've talked a lot. After we get the actual car, when Lynk Co is willing to show us, we'll experience it again. Today, we've seen this platform architecture. What can we see? I think the platform architecture can help automakers with flexible production. For example, maybe other brands under Geely can also use this platform architecture in the future. It also shows the R&D capabilities of an automaker. This is why the Lynk Co 900 has brought us many attractive experiences in the cabin today. Of course, there are many things today that we still cannot disclose to the public. They will have a dynamic driving and cabin experience soon. I think the launch of this car, besides the new architecture that Lynk Co has brought us in terms of chassis, power, and driving, and the anticipation of a brand new experience, its spatial design and the car's sense of technology, still make us feel that it is undoubtedly a model worth looking forward to in 2025. Finally, let's look at this. This is their flat floor version, the version we experienced. This is a 550 mm slide rail. What does a 550 mm slide rail mean? The slide rail on a Buick GL8 is about this long. You know, for similar new energy models, the slide rails on the M9 and L9 are basically around 200 mm. Maybe one is a little over 180 and the other is a little over 220. So, its slide rail length is extremely long. This is one of the benefits that the new platform architecture brings. We've talked a lot. After we get the actual car, when Lynk Co is willing to show us, we'll experience it again. Today, we've seen this platform architecture. What can we see? I think the platform architecture can help automakers with flexible production. For example, maybe other brands under Geely can also use this platform architecture in the future. It also shows the R&D capabilities of an automaker. This is why the Lynk Co 900 has brought us many attractive experiences in the cabin today. Of course, there are many things today that we still cannot disclose to the public. They will have a dynamic driving and cabin experience soon. I think the launch of this car, besides the new architecture that Lynk Co has brought us in terms of chassis, power, and driving, and the anticipation of a brand new experience, its spatial design and the car's sense of technology still make us feel that it is undoubtedly a model worth looking forward to in 2025. Finally, let's look at this. This is their flat floor version, the version we experienced. This is a 550 mm slide rail. What does a 550 mm slide rail mean? The slide rail on a Buick GL8 is about this long. You know, for similar new energy models, the slide rails on the M9 and L9 are basically around 200, maybe one is a little over 180 and the other is a little over 220. So, its slide rail length is extremely long. This is one of the benefits that the new platform architecture brings. We've talked a lot. After we get the actual car, when Lynk Co is willing to show us, we'll experience it again. Today, we've seen this platform architecture. What can we see? I think the platform architecture can help automakers with flexible production. For example, maybe other brands under Geely can also use this platform architecture in the future. It also shows the R&D capabilities of an automaker. This is why the Lynk Co 900 has brought us many attractive experiences in the cabin today.